All right, peoples, this is Ross, the Fig Boss. We're on the patio. The fig season's basically started. We're looking at the potted fig trees, and I wanted to just point out to everybody that we are really rocking this year. Things are going great. I've just been blown away by just how far along these fig trees are. I think a lot of it had to do with moving these fig trees out of winter storage onto the patio a bit earlier than normal. And that long period of time, I started, I think, the last week of March. Now we're almost into May, and the trees actually look amazing. That was the big experiment to see. I told you guys that I'm taking a little bit of information from Carlos Rivera. Shout out to Carlos. We did an interview with him. He's a fig grower over in Jersey, for those of you guys who don't know. And he was the one who kind of inspired me to put them out a lot earlier. The problem is, when you put them out earlier, you risk frost. And probably some of you guys are, maybe not so happy about the frost that happened recently, especially here in southeastern Pennsylvania. We did end up getting a frost. But I've said this before, frost doesn't necessarily mean death for your fig tree. First off, if it does get hit by frost, it's always going to bounce back unless it's really fragile. But if it's just such a light frost that even if there is frost and they say it in the frost warning and it's predicted, it's usually not until you see like a hard freeze. If it's just a light kiss and that's it, it's not a big deal. I didn't even lose any sleep over it like I had in the past. When I didn't have this information available, I was seriously coming out here and covering the trees with tarps and doing all kinds of things because, us as fig growers that grow in containers, we're in these short season climates, that's the bonus. You get them in containers out here early, you don't have a greenhouse maybe, and you can get a head start on the season. And the head start can be ruined if by chance a late frost comes in. And it makes me really sad because I'm sure people, even though I only saw about 35, 36 with a really, really light frost, maybe people, also in southeastern Pennsylvania, like in Lehigh Valley or let's say Bethlehem, Lancaster, Allentown, they, probably had that late frost and they always struggle with this late frost every year, putting their fig trees out early and then always having to move them back in. And it just becomes this monotonous problem and people are probably even scarred. And so I'm just really happy with it because the figs are untouched. We had an extremely mild winter with only a 15-degree low. We've had basically no frost. The weather is just about on average, on par in terms of the heat units, the growing degree days. But the fig trees, I'm telling you, they look great. They look further ahead than I think they've ever looked on this patio in containers. So we did this experiment. Like I said, I had access to a giant commercial greenhouse. I really want to get some content and show you guys what's going on in there. But I didn't put any of them in there this year. I did put some of the smaller, younger trees just to try to get them more established quickly. But for these, everything here you see on the patio was just totally natural, and I'm shocked to see how far along they actually are. And the coolest part is, in the past prior years, I think the earliest I ever saw main crop develop on these potted figs was about May 21st. So if I can beat that date this year, I think we will. I mean, I would be shocked if we don't see some main crop development in the next week and a half, actually. Some of these trees might even just start just throwing out some main crop, which would be nuts if that happens. That's just a crazy amount of time, and that's somehow all it was. Just getting them out here a little bit earlier than normal. And if we can just buy a week or 2 weeks, what a huge difference that is for most fig growers in these short season climates, northern places, people that don't have a lot of frost-free days. You live in a mild summer place like the UK or the Pacific Northwest. So to me, I think this is it's just really exciting. And I want to thank you guys here for watching this one. Please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button for me. We'll see you for the next video. I would even argue, by the way, before I let you guys go, that some of the potted figs are ahead of the in-ground figs just because we got them on the patio a little bit earlier. So that's exciting. Catch you guys for the next one. Check out the blog, figboss.com. Take care, everybody.